Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be looking today at how National Express embedded social media into their contact center, creating award-winning customer service. So I'm very proud today to bring this webinar to you in partnership with one of our closest and most long-standing clients, National Express. So I'm going to be your host today. My name is Stuart Banbury and I am the marketing manager from Social Sign-In. I also have with me Samantha Cox, who is the customer service manager from National Express. Sam has been at National Express for a number of years now, so she's seen their full digital journey develop over the last 18 to 24 months. Sam's going to be sharing some insights into the challenges they faced around customer service, the changes they made, and then the results they've been able to leverage since they made those changes. Just a couple of pieces of housekeeping before we get started. So if you do want to dial in using your phone, the details can be found in the chat box on the right-hand panel of your computer. So just in case your computer doesn't have speakers, you can dial in using the details in the chat box on the right. All microphones will be muted during the course of the webinar, and at the end there will be an opportunity to ask either Sam or myself any questions about what you see today. So just type your questions into the chat box again on the right hand panel, and we can work through those at the end. So today we're going to take a look at, starting off, I'm going to talk for a few minutes just about some of the key customer service trends and consumer trends that we're now seeing around social media, and how brands and organizations are now responding to those. Then Sam is going to speak for 15 minutes or so around how National Express have used social media and embedded it very successfully into their contact center, and used it to drive down response times, to shift inquiries from expensive channels such as in-person or telephone to digital channels, and how that's helped them to leverage savings of over £200,000, which they then invested back into the contact center. We're also going to touch on how we can humanize social media and digital engagement in general, driving up things like customer satisfaction and making those engagements just meaningful and human. And then, as I said, there'll be an opportunity for a Q&A at the end. So just a couple of slides on Social Sign-In before we get started, for those of you that aren't as familiar with us. So we're based in sunny Birmingham, and we are the leading social media management platform now in the UK. We work with large brands and organisations of all different shapes and sizes, spanning every sector. So we work with a number of transport providers, retail, FMCG and leisure, a number of large construction organisations, I think over 40 different local authorities, and also over 40 different further education and higher education institutions. We also work with a number of utilities companies. So for me as marketing manager, what's really exciting is I get to see under the bonnet of how all of these different brands are harnessing social media for marketing, for PR, for customer service, and then get to share some of their learnings and some of their insights at events like this. So the final slide on us is just a quick overview of the platform that many of these brands use to leverage these quite remarkable results in some circumstances. Because quite often we go into an organization and they may have one social media tool for the customer service team, one for the marketing team, one for the PR team, and that just creates silos of data. It creates inefficiencies between departments, and inevitably that results in a poor experience for the customer. So we developed a platform that can be scaled simply and quickly right across an organization. So we have a customer service module that is used within the contact center to provide fast responses, and to create those kind of meaningful human interactions. We also have a marketing module that marketing and communications teams use to schedule and to publish content, and then to report on which of that content is sticking and resonating with their audience. They can then use those reports to continually refine and target their kind of key demographic. We also have a PR module. So this is all about social listening and media monitoring. So you can listen to what's being said about your brand or issues related to your brand across social, across print, across web, and blogs, and just manage that online reputation, and proactively reach out and join those important conversations about your brand. And finally, we have the mobile app. So most of what you can see there can be controlled and managed from the mobile app. So whenever you are on the go, you can stay close to what's happening with your team or your social media channels and just quickly respond to any circumstances that are arising. So before we get stuck into the body of the webinar, I thought it was important to just quickly take a look at how social media has evolved over the last 15 years or so. So back in 2001, when Mr. Zuckerberg was creating the Facebook, as it was called back then, in his dormitory at Harvard University, the key channels at the time were things like MySpace. And back then, for that kind of 10-year period, it was all about growing your followers, growing your community. And then around 2010, we saw the first significant shift start to take place. And once brands and organizations had built these communities, it was then all about how do they start to leverage them. So the currency at that time was likes and retweets and shares. But then around about 18 months ago, we began to see the second significant shift start to take place. And this was all around once MDs and boards of directors had begun to realize that this social media thing, it wasn't going to blow away, it wasn't a passing fad. It was how can we now get it to contribute to core business objectives? And it's only by aligning it to these kind of wider business goals that we can truly elevate social media to a more strategic level. So I think looking forward now, it's a really exciting time for social media as we see it elevated to board level, and to contributing towards key business goals like driving profits, creating powerful customer experiences, managing online reputation. That is quite an exciting time now looking forward for social media. So the final slide from me is going to take a look at some of the key consumer trends and key social customer service trends that we're now seeing around social media with some of the brands that we work with. So what we're seeing now is two distinct and fundamental types of customer need starting to emerge. So these are, on one hand, fast, efficient, transactional experiences. And then on the other hand, more deeper relationships. Quite often these are underpinned by empathy and proactive help. And sometimes these differing needs are kept quite distinct, but often they converge at different points along the customer journey. So the trick here is for brands to identify which type of transaction a customer needs at different points of the customer journey, but also being able to move seamlessly between these different types of transaction. We're also seeing quite a notable shift now over the last 18 months from more traditional contacts, such as in-person or phone contacts, towards digital channels. So we're seeing quite a steep drop-off now in those traditional channels, and a growth in interactions across website, so things like live chat and chatbots, social media, text, and also email. And again, the trick here is if you can provide a great first customer service experience on your new digital channel, then customers will come back to you on that new channel again and again. So it's really important to have your processes, your responsibilities, and your SLAs in place behind the scenes before you promote your new digital channel so that customers get a great first experience on that digital channel. We're also seeing a direct correlation between organizations that have highly engaged employees and high levels of customer satisfaction. So do make sure that you try different approaches when trying to get your employees engaged with your digital channels. Encourage them to follow you on social media and to share your content. Some brands even use social media ambassadors who can interact with customers on social media, maybe responding either through their own personal account or through the brand's corporate account. And finally, customer service has now really become a key battleground for acquisition, retention, growth, and differentiation. Research is now showing that companies who deliver poor social customer services are seeing an average churn rate of up to 15% higher than other brands. On the flip side to this, when companies really engage with customer service and provide really powerful customer experiences on digital channels, those customers on average spend 20 to 40% more. So it really is a key battleground now, not just for customer service, but for marketing teams as well. But we often see a grey area between who owns social customer service. Sometimes it's marketing communications, sometimes it's customer service, and sometimes it falls into that kind of grey area in between. So again, it's really important to define those roles and KPIs around social and who owns it. Some of the savviest brands that we see have a social media ambassador in each department, and they can respond directly to customers. Again, making it fast, making it effective and human, and I guess making it kind of truly social. Some of those stats that I've shared there on social media trends were taken from the Institute of Customer Service's latest report, which you can download from their website. I'm now going to hand it over to Sam, who's going to talk for 15 minutes or so about the quite remarkable journey that National Express have been on over the last 2 years or so, how they've very successfully embedded social media as a key communication channel and customer service channel, and gone on to win several awards off the back of that. So I'm going to go quiet now for a few minutes, and Sam is going to pick up from here. So I'll speak to you again during the Q&A session.
Thank you, Stuart. Good afternoon, everybody. As Stuart said, my name's Samantha Cox, and I'm one of our customer service managers at National Express. I'm thrilled to be here today to share our journey so far with you, and I hope you enjoy it. So the first thing I'm going to touch on today is just a couple of points about us as a company. So just to give you a couple of facts, we have 18.6 million journeys per year, and we have over 140,000 inbound social messages a year. So as you can imagine, it's really important that we get that right. We've been seeing an increasing volume of customer interaction via digital platforms for a while now, and alongside that comes rising customer expectations. We used to see back in 2015 that some of our managers were struggling to track our social KPIs and to manage the resource effectively. It was quite an unknown back then, as I'd imagine quite a few of you have already experienced. And we were having a lack of customer visibility online and on our social services as well. So we needed to change this because ultimately it didn't fit with our business vision. And our business vision is to earn the lifetime loyalty of our customers by consistently delivering frequent, high-performing public transport services, which offer excellent value for money. So quality is really important to us. So we needed to do some changing. Just going to give you a little insight now into some of the trends that we saw last year with regards to our contacts. So the chart on the left there is showing you our live chats that we do. So just July to December there, but we can see there's a great deal of difference in between the inbound contacts with 2015 and 2016. In fact, by September last year, we'd already done more than we had in 2015 by over quite a margin. So we can definitely see a growth there. And the chart on the right-hand side is showing you our social media inbound contacts. So in July and August of last year, the popularity of social media really increased across our platforms. And we saw a 27% increase year on year in July, which is quite substantial. We can then see on the graph that our inbound numbers actually decreased, but this isn't something that worried us because it was actually something that we were targeting, as strange as it may sound. And that was a direct result of us being more proactive and helping customers to serve themselves. We did this with a variety of ways in regards to self-help links and out-of-hours posts that we can do, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. So again, just a bit of background story for you. Our social media used to sit under our operations department. It wasn't the best place for it. It needed to sit under the customer service umbrella. So we brought it back over in February of last year, and we've had really pleasing results since. So when I first had the team, it started at 4, and we've now gone up to 21 advisors. So that just goes to show just how much of a growth we're seeing across social media live chat and our inquiry emails channels as well. We have a digital contacts team that do all 3 of those, and they're all multi-skilled, so can pick any of them up at any time. So we've got this big team, we've got all of these contacts. What we need now is targets. We need to make sure that we're achieving what we want to achieve. So our social media response time in 2016 was 60 minutes. We've now brought that down this year to 40 minutes. And we've done that based on a number of things. But what we know is 53% of Twitter users expect to hear back from brands within an hour of tweeting. And that number rises to 72% when the tweet in question involves a specific complaint. So we need to improve. Last month we achieved 56 minutes response time, which is probably one of our best yet. So we've got a way to go to our 40-minute target this year yet, but we're working on that. We have a missed chat target on our live chat platform of less than 5%. So we want to help as many customers as we can on there. And we also have an internal SLA for our inquiry emails of 24 hours. So we want to get all of this in a quicker manner, and we do that by, as I said, educating our customers to help themselves. So Stuart touched on making digital more human a little bit earlier, so I'm just going to talk to you a little bit more about that now. So the key on social, it's not a secret, it's to be social. So we need a personal touch, and we needed to do this in a variety of ways. Some of it was basic training, so from colleagues or myself. We built training packs, we held training sessions, and we also had training sessions put on by Social Signing also. We've also had some external training as well to look at how we respond to what the customers are saying and reading the unsaid words and how to help those customers better and respond differently. We've obviously got people that pick it up a bit quicker and people that take a bit longer. So we use our teams to observe each other and to intertrain, if you will. And this helps with confidence as well. When we do this across all channels, it's not just social media. So we've got different communication methods that we want to be more personal with. I couldn't agree more, excuse me, in what Stuart said around employee engagement. It's absolutely key to make sure that your employees are engaged, and this will come across on social media. This is just touching on one of the things that we did last year for the first time ever within National Express. And this was let a bunch of customer service advisors run a competition on social. Previously, it had ever been marketing, and we wasn't allowed to post out anything like this. So it was a really exciting time for the guys, and they really took it on board. So we did a lost property competition. We did it in the guise of almost like a catchphrase thing. So as we reveal squares, you tell us what you think's behind it. And what was actually behind it was something that we had found on board that somebody had left. So it was educating customers about don't forget your luggage as well, but it was also fun and interactive. We had really good engagement rates from customers and our staff on that. Okay, so we were doing all this work and that was staying within the contact centre. So the next important thing to do was to tell everybody else about what we were doing. I think it's quite key to make sure that everybody around the business has got the buy-in for social media and to know where it's going. And it's only going to go up and it's going to keep growing. So the more you can get people on board at the earlier stages, the better. So there's just a snippet of us sharing at our management conference last year to over 300 managers what we were doing in social and the importance of our journey that we're on. Interdepartmental collaboration is huge in regards to social media. As we all know, it can be fear of the unknown, and once it's out there, and everybody can be a bit nervous around it. But we like to take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and we work really closely with everybody to make sure that what we put out there, we get it right. And one of the key departments is media and PR. So there's just a quote there for you from our head of media, just showing really how our relationship has evolved alongside our social media growth and our digital contacts growth. And it's key to work really closely with those, as well as other departments around the business. So we have a planning department, affairs department, IT, events, that sort of thing. And it's key to make sure that we're in touch with them. It also allows us to take ownership and to use our initiative to respond maybe differently than we would have done previously. And this helps us build relationships with customers as well. So this page is quite exciting, all about our proactive comms and helping us keeping people moving. So there's an example there of our Ride London event, which I'm sure most of you may be familiar with. That, as you can imagine, can cause us as a coach company quite a large amount of disruption in London. So it's up to us to put a really positive vibe out on social rather than scare our customers in regards to the disruption that their journeys may experience. So we keep it upbeat. We use links to the Ride London site itself. We encourage people to take part if they want to. And it's all things like that that are really interesting that we do. In regards to other proactive comms, we also do out of hours posts using the scheduling tool on social signing. So we are currently open on social media from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. And the out of hours post allows us to serve our customers when we're not even there, which is really good news for the customers, and it helps us as well. We also post out stock closure information and any stock change information. So if we don't have any customer details to be able to get in touch with them to tell them, if we put it on social, there's the chance that they may see it as well. So it's reaching out to as many customers as we possibly can. And it's allowing customers to make informed decisions then. So if we can tell somebody that a stock's changed, but that stock change isn't actually relevant to them anymore and they don't want to travel, then it gives them the power to be able to change their journey beforehand and not be dissatisfied on the day. I'm just going to talk to you a little more about our live chats here. So this graph is showing our missed chats percentage from January last year until December last year. And as you can see, there was quite a difference in January to before when the digital contacts team were formed from February onwards. And we managed to get December down to just over 1%. That 0.1 was really frustrating, but we got it down a hell of a lot better than 15.4% in January, as you can imagine. And this was despite taking nearly 6,000 more chats in December than we did in January. So we must be doing something right. We've also got a picture of one of our advisors there, bless him, who took our millionth chat on the platform. So it's really key to keep people engaged, as we've said earlier, and to get a sense of pride amongst the advisors as well, because they really enjoy what they're doing if it's done right. So back to social media then, and looking at our response time. So as you can see, in December 2015, it was far too high. And we've managed to improve that by 152 minutes. So over 2.5 hours now. So we're definitely going in the right direction. We managed to get our summer response times down last year, which was fantastic. And we got Christmas's response times down too by 63.8% last year. So December 2015, we had a response time of 210 minutes, and December 2016, we had a response time of 76 minutes. So although that wasn't within our 60-minute target, it was an awful lot better than we'd seen the previous year. And this, as we've said, does correlate with customer satisfaction as well. So this graph, this really excites me, to be honest with you, because this is the crux of all we do. It's customer service. But the best part for me is knowing that we can serve our customers before they're even in the UK, before they even travel with us. So this can be potential customers, travellers, customers that have booked tickets before they get here, and we can help people all over the world. So how do we know this? Simply, social signing tells us. This is just one of the great reporting tools that we can get from social signing. And this allows us to serve people that we wouldn't usually be able to serve. And it can also break a language barrier. Occasionally we have to rely on Google Translate, but we do get there and we do help our customers. We've recently helped somebody in Asia who blatantly said we wouldn't have been able to solve our issue if it wasn't for social media, because I couldn't have afforded the phone call. So obviously there's different channel shifts that we're seeing as well. I'll talk to you a little bit more in depth about the channel shift that we're seeing. So we in the contact centre do not only digital channels, but obviously calls as well. And we've got a new social media customer survey that's out also, which is really good to know. So we've put in all the hard work in, but we ultimately need to know, are the customers happy with what we're doing? So there's just a few stats there for you in regards to how helpful and friendly our advisors were in the customer's eyes, how understood they felt, and were they easy and clear? So are we making the journey effortless for the customer when they're on social media? And we've seen an improvement in the last 12 months in quite a way for that. So that's really good. So we know we're going in the right direction for customers also, which is ultimately what we're all here for. So just some stats for you now. So the calls, they've dropped 8%. We've had 25,000 less calls than we had the previous year. Our live chat channels have gone up 4%. Our social media has risen 3%, and our emails have gone up 1% as well. So everything that's digital is on the rise. Just to give you a little bit more in depth there, if we look at April 2016 versus April 2017, our live chat has grown 27%, our emails have grown 53%, and our social media has grown 39%. So the journey is definitely still carrying on, and we're really pleased to be on board and to help as many as we can in the right ways. So the bit that most of you are probably really interested in is how much money did we save? So ultimately in 2015, our average cost to serve was £1.92, and we reduced this last year to £1.07. And that was purely due to the fact that customers weren't picking up the phone anymore. They were going to their laptops or their phones. They were speaking to us on the go via digital channels. And we really needed to encapsulate those customers and keep them. We dedicated teams and clear targets. We managed to get that down, and as Stuart touched on earlier, we'd saved over £200,000, which we were fortunate enough to be able to reinvest into our digital team, hence the growth from 4 advisors to 21 advisors, which is really good. It shows the advisors that we're serious as well about helping the team develop, and that we're taking it seriously, and that we're listening to what our customers want. So there's just a slightly more in-depth graph there for you on another one of our questions from our social media survey. It's how satisfied or unsatisfied were you with your customer service experience overall? So we're really pleased to see that most of the answers were very satisfied or somewhat satisfied. We're going to get those dissatisfied numbers down because we've managed to improve everything else, so we'll get that done as well. It's all about building rapport and engagement and customer retention on social and making sure that everybody's happy when they're talking to us. There's just a couple of quotes there for you as well. So probably the biggest thing we achieved last year, and I'm proud to say was in conjunction with social signing, is we won the Digital Customer Services Team of the Year Award 2016. It was a really prestigious award, and we were really proud of it because we put so much effort into it. And it was great to have it rewarded from an external point of view. We can all praise ourselves in-house, but it's really great to hear somebody else do it outside. I'm sure you'll agree. So you'll be pleased to know that I'm nearly done. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what I've said and some of the little key facts also. So ultimately, our cost savings were nearly £300,000, and that's based on statistics and calculations that we did based on good delivery research. We've seen a 28% digital channel shift, and as we've seen just on April's results year on year, that continues and will probably carry on also. We had a 210% growth in Twitter messages as a customer service channel. So it's really important to notice that it's not just marketing anymore. We can actually help people on social and serve them as well. We've got a really close relationship with our PR team, and this allows us to mitigate any potentially negative media. It's always a risk, but ultimately, if you've got risk management in place, we should be on top of that all the time. Touching on that as well, we've got a stringent social media escalation policy in place now that wasn't previously there before, and that doesn't only protect us and our customers, but it also allows for brand protection as well, so we can protect from the inside out. And we've implemented and streamlined the latest digital technology, and this has improved both internal processes and allow us to deliver better customer experience. And as a result of that, we've seen that we're seeing better customer engagement scores and customer satisfaction, which is really exciting for us because it's exactly where we want to go. So our story, social signing, we're kind of to put it into an ebook for you. And I'm going to hand back over to Stuart to give you a little bit more information about that. But thanks for listening, guys.
That's wonderful, Sam. Thank you very much for that. Hopefully you will all agree there's some really kind of interesting insights there from the course of National Express's digital journey, which hopefully you can take away, and it's given you lots of ideas to then go and implement and try. As Sam did mention, we did produce an ebook which kind of summarizes that digital journey, so you can download via our website, or if you pop me a message into the chat box, I'll make sure one of those gets emailed through to you. There's also a video on our YouTube channel, so if you search for social signing, there's a video again featuring Sam and some of her colleagues, some of the key stakeholders from other departments, again talking about how social media and digital technology helps them all to work together more closely, and to just drive some of those benefits around fast responses, around efficiencies, and around creating those powerful customer experiences that we're all looking for. So we're now going to answer a couple of questions that have been sent through to us during the course of the webinar. Firstly, Sam, I'd like to just start off by asking you, looking forward, what some of your digital plans are going to be across the board in terms of social media and other channels, and some of how you plan to evolve some of this great work even further.
Okay, so it's more of what we've been doing and doing it on a much larger scale. So we would like to carry on increasing the team. This will ultimately allow us to reduce our response times, so it will help us serve customers quicker. And we want to keep, as bad as it sounds, stealing those calls from our calls guys, and we want it to come to the digital side. Ultimately, because it allows us to deliver a better service at a quicker pace. What we also want to do is a lot more proactive research. So it's reaching out to customers that maybe don't even know that we could be an option to them. And we can do that using all the different monitoring streams that we've got within social signing. They're really helpful to help us identify people that want to travel, that maybe don't think about National Express Coach as a means, or about putting people's minds at ease. So especially in the current climate that we're in, people can be worried to move from A to B. Ultimately, that's down to us to put their minds at ease. And that's all about building trust with the customers. And we do that by being there for them as much as we can. And on that note, it's also important to note that we're going to elongate our opening hours, I'd imagine, in the not too near future. So that would be really helpful to help serve our customers at all hours of the day, because we have a 24-hour operation. So it's really important to be able to help our customers throughout all of that.
Okay, thanks. And another question we've had sent in is, could you just talk for a minute or two around what some of the key KPIs are around social media that you track, which help you to kind of measure the success of what you're doing and to kind of continually drive that down?
Yeah. So based on some of the monitoring that social signing provides us, we have a sentiment score. So we know if the majority of the content that's coming into us is of a positive or negative vibe, and it's ultimately up to us to ensure that we're making it as positive as possible. We've seen in recent months our advisors get much more in tune with turning negative contacts into positive ones, and that's all about giving them the skills to know how to handle the content that's coming in. We've touched on response time, so I don't think we'll go over that again. But what we also have is customer engagement. So how engaged are they? It's great that they can ask us a question and get an answer, but ultimately, do they feel that they can have a conversation with us? Are we having long enough chats to make them feel comfortable with us? And are they coming back? So we're looking at social media customer retention. We can see all of the previous comments that we've had from customers on social signing, which is really good because it allows us to get an image of that customer. It also allows us to see, do they travel with us regularly? So that allows closer relationships and it builds rapport, which always helps. And when we need customer retention, that's always a bonus.
Okay, great. And the final question we've had sent in from Jack Bond at Company's House, who is one of our other clients. And Jack wants to know how you gather the data on customer satisfaction. So what kind of surveys and channels did you use for that?
Okay, great. So it is a simple survey. It's not overcomplicated. I think we can run the risk of overcomplicating things at times. It's just a SurveyMonkey link. So we provide questions based on what we'd also send out post journey or after calls. So it's making sure that we're keeping it in line with the rest of the contact channels. So then we get a more balanced view of who prefers what contact method. And it's simple things like, are we friendly and helpful? Was it easy? Was it quick for you? Did you get a resolution to the question that you came to us with? And there's obviously verbatim boxes as well. And we've had some really lovely comments come in. And ultimately, the majority of them are positive. There's always the odd one that isn't, but it tends to be, for example, the customer didn't get their own way. If they wanted a refund, for example, and it wasn't possible. But we always try and help where we can, and it's really pleasing to see for the first time ever that we've done this, that we're getting the majority of answers really positive and supportive for us.
Okay, great. We've just had a couple more questions sent in, so if you don't mind just delaying your lunch hour for a few more minutes, we will just cover those off. So we've had sent through from Mered Edwards. We've had, how did you bring your customer services team with you at the beginning? How did you manage negative attitudes towards channel shift?
Okay, great question. So the key part for me was communication. We're really good at times at saying, like, this is what we're doing, let's go, and just hoping everybody comes with us. But it's a really key point to saying, how did you get them on board? For me, it was a teaching and education piece. So it was showing them what we can do, not necessarily what we're already doing, and what we were hoping to get out of it. So by collating the digital contacts team, we were hoping to get, obviously, increased inbound on social media and a reduced response time, which we got. We were hoping to be able to serve more customers via live chat and at a quicker rate and with less abandoned chats, which we did, and helping to answer inquiry emails quicker, which we did. And it's ultimately teaching them that as a team, if we all work together as a multi-skills unit, that ultimately we can serve the customers at a better rate. And that's what we're all here for as a customer service team, whether you pick up the phone or whether you reply to an email or a tweet. Ultimately, we just need to serve the customer in the best way possible. And throughout the journey, we've had key touch points as well with them. So the advisors always get monthly reviews anyway, but if there's something that crops up, it's building that rapport with each advisor so that they can come to you and just ask you a question rather than letting the good old rumour mill carry on. It's always best to encourage them to come to you and to promote that environment that allows them to do so. And reward is key, I think. If there's something going particularly well, if there's been a really good response, if we've had quite a few humorous conversations that have taken place on social now, if people have got more calm and more confident, and it's making a big deal of those, even the little things, especially for the ones that aren't so confident, because I think there's still the fear underlying for social media, and it's that we're trying to eradicate with praise and reward and seeing results. I think we're finally getting there.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I think that's a really key point about making social interactions human and warm and friendly. And there's even kind of room in there to be funny as well at the right time. So, final question today before we wrap up is from Joe Hayward. And Joe asks, how did you develop an escalation policy?
Okay, thanks, Joe. So for me, it was making sure that all the key stakeholders were involved that needed to be. Unfortunately, we learned the hard way quite rapidly that if we allow something to escalate on social, it soon becomes out of hand. And we had just one incident, and from the back of that, it was we need to do something. So I very quickly got together our head of customer service, our PR, our media, our marketing team, anybody that had anything to do with social media or any interest whatsoever, and customer service, because ultimately, as I said, we want to drive it towards a customer service channel more than a marketing channel. So it's getting everybody together and actually seeing where did we go wrong and where could we go wrong. So it's highlighting risks that weren't necessarily already showing themselves to us, as well as handling the ones that we'd unfortunately already seen, and making sure that we could put everything in place we could to stop that happening again. But I'm more than happy to pick it up offline if you want to have a further conversation, Joe.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, Sam. Hopefully you'll agree that's been a really kind of good insight into the journey National Express have been on. I think we've covered a lot of different areas which all kind of link together to create that kind of powerful, efficient customer experience that we're all looking for. We have made a recording of the webinar, so we'll make sure that gets emailed out to everyone who's attended today over the next few days. If you would like any further information on the National Express story or how they use social signing to create those kind of powerful, valuable customer experiences, then just leave us a message in the chat box. You can tweet us or you can visit our website and send us a message. So I think that's kind of, we've eaten into dinner time enough, no pun intended. So yeah, I guess that just leaves me to say thank you to Sam for joining us. Thank you to everyone who's joined us and attended the webinar today. Don't forget to follow us on social media. So we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Just search for Social Signing, where we share lots of kind of insights and research, and also some success stories from the likes of National Express. So yeah, thank you all for joining us, and keep an eye out for our next webinar, which we'll be promoting soon.